Welcome to your magical moon message. This is the Peace Dealer. Infinity gang, 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 gang. You know what it is. Alright, moon in Aries, sun in Leo. The moon is making a ninth house closing trine aspect to Leo. Okay, the sun in Leo and its dignity. So, certain things we want to take note of is this is the completion or the end of the harvest part. We had 3-stage activation, like every transit, new moon in Cancer. And because it was at the end of the sign, that led to, of course, the moon in Scorpio. Okay, moon in Scorpio square sun in Leo was now the integration aspect. That was threefold. We had the moon in Scorpio, we had the moon in Sag, and then we had the moon in Capricorn. Cool. Then, of course, we had the harvest, which was the full moon in Aquarius, the moon in Pisces, and now we are closing that out with the moon in Aries. The moon in Aqua gave us a knowledgeable understanding of the strength and quality of the energy we're harvesting, which personally as well, given that this harvest period is a 180 degree to about 180 degree coming into 210, which is entirely representative of other people. It's going to be a period like this where with the squares of Uranus, you are being shamed, you are being chastised. It's not all bad because you're being rewarded for this too, but there's going to be that element of other people who represent the opposite frequency and who bring in their limited understanding from the outside looking in, ridiculing you or silently, directly or indirectly mocking you because of the eccentric ways with which you are interacting with this Leo social culture that is not traditional, that is not natural, that's not normal. And when I say not normal, I really mean more eccentric, supernatural. And as long as it's aligned with your sense of authenticity and integrity, is really just more, telltale proof or onus for you to keep moving forward and do this during this period. This is very important. The type of opposition and pressure you get is the pressure that through the struggle strengthens your will, so that you, instead of bowing to it, you actually gain that strength. So you're understanding these dynamics. Elements of your own authenticity indirectly or directly threaten other people's literal existence because of their own attachment to their beliefs, which now enable them in their insecurity to believe you're attacking their character when nobody gives a fuck about their weak, stupid little bitch asses. And that's being very kind, okay? This is that Aries energy. Let me get lit. Cool. So basically, this conclusion of the harvest is taking that strength of the quality of energy, which produce the effect of changing your beliefs, because you witness the transformation of your approach towards expressing your will and your intent. Now you're going to direct this authentic understanding of your identity. This is harvesting the ascension of your character. It's one of the most amazing things about Leo, other than their potential to love and be creative, which is ascended 5th house Sagittarius. But the 9th house Aries is legit. If you even think about exaltation of alter ego, I'm going to somehow try and link that with this concept. We have late, right? But like House Aries is the philosophical approach towards exalting one's identity. It actually leads to their narcissism, but it's fucking awesome because they're able to see themselves in the highlight of who they are and what they mean to the society they're representing. And this is everything you're going to understand based on your authentic original actions. It's the coolest thing about cardinal signs that really take things away from conjecture and postulation. It's purely action based, and this is going to help you understand how not only you have evolved your character, but you are moving it higher in this ascension, that through these actions will help you understand the power of your will and intent. who you are, creatively expressing these talents, and coming into the moon in Taurus, how you will complete the transit by grounding all of what that is worth. So because this cardinal sign is the expression of the harvest, the 9th house, you're going to understand how the actions you're taking are bringing you to some of the highest understanding of who you are becoming relative to this evolution cycle that, with the sun getting ready to square Jupiter over the next week, is taking the seeds of evolution we plant. I'm spitting bars, man. Remember, this is a magical moon message, so I'm not an astrologer just telling you Venus is going to be in this sign and going. This is a magic spell. I'm spitting bars. Please remember, this is a magic spell. Use this however the fuck you want, okay? Because once again, this understanding of where you're taking your potential is not only putting you in a position to step higher into everything you're capable of, but to understand the core root of who performs these talents, because you've already began to master how. So this is going to push you into the right direction, aligned with the North Node that's still squaring Pluto, which will have you feel more than ever who you're meant to be. Can't even make this up. All right, if we bring aspects into the equation, we know that this Chiron moon is going to drum up every insecurity you have about yourself so that you can see it for what it is in light of this renewed confidence that you're harvesting. Let's not forget, this is a harvest cycle. So the energy that you're harvesting, you're now directing. The Pisces transit changed your perception on what value this level of energy and the quality is, so that you can move in that direction, the change of belief in who you are, because you started to synchronize more experiences that not necessarily fed your beliefs like confirmation bias, but with the opposition to Virgo, gave you an understanding of how to perceive dynamics that you're not even conscious of. That being said, the quincunx that Mars and Mercury will be making to the moon in Aries will integrate the behavioral active transformation, okay, of your own identity due to you stepping more into an authentic place. So it's basically like you sowed the seeds for something and you're coming into the quality of what it is you sowed. And if it was clothes, you're putting those clothes on now. And now you're feeling who you are in these clothes so that you can go look fresh. The moon goes into Taurus, and now you're judged on the quality of this fabric that you sowed the seeds for and have harvested. If we're using that as an analogy, the Drip Fest, the annual Leo season Drip Fest that usually happens at the completion of Leo season, which is somewhat obligatory because their best friend is Libra. And so Libra is like the fashion police. And so like you want to make sure you're not caught lacking out on these streets just looking fugazi. Anyway, yeah. You want to get passionate about this because realizations about who you are will come in to also satisfy the unique, unconventional quality of how much more you understand your body through your 5 senses. And that semi-sextile with the moon and the Taurus energy with Jupiter and Uranus, one will prepare for the conjunction. That conjunction, and it could give some people unexpected windfalls of income, but coming into the moon in Virgo. But that semi-sextile is going to, in very shocking ways, through direct actions you take, help you understand who you are in those actions and make you a believer about certain facets you've refused to accept about yourself seemingly overnight. I say seemingly because it took your whole life, but it's going to look like, oh, wow, I just made this realization. And you don't want to underestimate that, especially once again, because relative to the Chiron initiation that we're coming into, the straight shot and trine it's making to the sun in Leo is going to really align a lot of kinks that coming into the last 6 months were very difficult to really accept and understand, but now they're going to make more sense than ever. Now, with added context, especially with the Virgo transits, you are understanding at an analytical, critical sense more details on literally how to make real sense of all this. And all this is preparing for that great plot twist in Virgo season. All right. So, yeah, the last thing I want to really touch on, now that we've got a lot of the math out of the way, of course, coming into the end of the Moon in Aries transit, the increasing number of the potency as it squares Pluto in Capricorn will challenge you not to necessarily derail this alignment with your understanding of your philosophy about who you are, okay? Relative to outside influences, opinions, and a temptation to regress back into old behavior. That's what the square is going to represent. Now that you are instilling this new, I don't want to say social persona, now that you are really activating this social expression of how you're, integrating this individuality that you've recently evolved, this is going to, in stepping towards a new belief about how you express that, old behaviors that can tempt you back into old comfort zones, and you want to just smack them with your metaphorical dick and bring that raw Aries and be like, suck my dick, bitch, I'm moving forward. The more raw, the more vulgar, the better. You'll find that if you try and reason with it and be kind and very, balanced, it might betray your expectations. You want to just like spit on it and just like smack it in the face. Metaphorically, literally, however you want to do this. Yeah, it's really just based on how authentic about who you are you can feel about yourself, and then bring that socially to people. It's not really anything you can fake. And knowing that this formula of authenticity is going to generate more force of will than you've ever generated in your life, it's now a great time to bring up the fact that this transit undeniably coming into the North Node will unlock the superpowers you will express through your talents. This is going to be a very powerful unlocking of your talents that will manifest and ground through your five senses in Taurus. So there's going to be an intuitive understanding of what actions to take, because you've already broken through with the Moon and Cap transit how to perform these talents and how to utilize your energy. So in the alignment of now how uniquely you're going to do it, right? The Moon and Cap is literally you reading in a book and practicing how you're supposed to ride a bike or how you ride a car, right? There's the way that we are all trained to ride a car on paper. Then there's the way that you drive your car. I'm drinking coffee. Oh, let me put this shit up. Driving all rambunctious around the street. But this is how you drive. This is what makes it you driving. Okay, we're now personalizing the bejesus out of this. And through this personalization, that will exalt a higher vision of who you are relative to how you're expressing, and your understanding of this is just going to click. Everything that you can represent is this unwinding clock cyclically will now click before we complete and conclude this transit and prepares for a push button new moon start in Leo. A lot of these new moons you want to look at as like cars that self-start when you just press the button, and vroom. So everything in between that is wiring, boom, so we can press the button. Normally we activate and then do the wiring, so that's just really interesting. But other than that, yeah, you want to get excited because fire is passion. And if you are struggling to maintain excitement, you have to really challenge yourself to ask yourself if your environment needs to change and to take action to do so. You're going to understand all the action that is needed to be taken. And the last thing I want to say, that semi-sextile with Aries and Taurus is what's going to produce unexpected you know, sensations physically that elude you into more supernatural realities about yourself that you may have only thought was a fantasy. But that semi-sextile with the moon in Aries to Neptune in Pisces and Saturn in Pisces is what's going to completely, through this transit, transcend completely old beliefs about yourself. A transit like this is not believing you could fly, and unexpectedly you reluctantly stop believing that you can't fly because you're levitating. You just suddenly levitated. So this is disassociating and dissolving the blocks that will enable you to unlock your supernatural talents. Y'all stay blessed as always. Godspeed. Peace.